The New York Giants, as we all know this past season, were a surprise, as many people expected them to be one of the worst teams in the NFL, only winning something like 2 to 4 games. But they went 6-10, which while it is not an amazing record, it sure was better than expected. And today I wanted to talk about what's next for the Giants and what I would do if I were them if they want to have success in the future. But before we get started, if you guys enjoyed today's video, make sure you hit that like button, as it really helps out the channel and it shows your support for this content. Subscribe if you guys are new and enjoy the videos on here so you do not miss out on any new videos, and we are also on the road to 500 subscribers, and it would mean a lot to me if we could reach that goal. As a special, I will react to my first 2 videos ever, so if you guys want to see that and enjoy the content on here, make sure to subscribe. But with that being said, let's get started. And I want to start out by talking about the Giants roster, and Daniel Jones is the first player I want to talk about. Now, Daniel Jones, as we know, the guy has not had great circumstances as his offensive line, and neither has his weapons been great, but at the same time, the guy's play hasn't been that good either. He's been inconsistent, and he wasn't that good this year, and because of that, we don't know what his future with this team will be. Now, I do expect him to be the starting quarterback for next season. More on that later. But nevertheless, he did pass for 2,943 yards, 11 touchdowns, and he completed 62.5% of his passes. Saquon Barkley is the next player I want to talk about, and the guy this past season, he hardly played due to injury, and because of that, I won't include any stats. But he is one of the best running backs in the league when he's healthy, and hopefully next year he's healthy, as the guy is, to me, by far really just their best player. And Wayne Goldman is the next player I want to talk about, and Wayne Goldman, he had a pretty good season in Saquon Barkley's absence, as he had 682 rushing yards, 6 rushing touchdowns, and averaged 5 yards a carry. Maybe next year we see Wayne Goldman in the offense more, and we see like 2 running back sets and they're on the field a lot of times, but I really do hope Wayne Goldman can keep up like good production. And while I don't expect him to have elite numbers because Saquon Barkley is there obviously and other reasons, Wayne Goldman still is a really solid player for this team. Darius Slayton is the next player I want to talk about, and while the guy was not amazing, he still had a solid season with 751 receiving yards, and 3 receiving touchdowns, but he did only catch 52% of his targets. Sterling Shepard is the next player I want to talk about, and the guy did miss 4 games, so that is not good at all, but he still had 656 receiving yards and 3 receiving touchdowns, catching 73% of his targets this past season. Evan Ingram is the next player I want to talk about, and I know a lot of guys are going to start clowning him now because the guy did have a lot of drop passes this year, but the guy is still not a terrible tight end, as he had 654 receiving yards, 1 receiving touchdown, and he did catch 58% of his targets. Moving on to the defensive side of the ball, Leonard Williams is the next player I want to talk about, and Leonard Williams, what can I say, he just had a great season and was really just a large part of their defense. Many people thought their defense would be one of the worst, if not the worst, unit in the league, but that was not the case, and Leonard Williams, well, he was a big part of that, as he had 11.5 sacks this past season, along with 42 pressures. Hopefully he can keep up this kind of production, and he is definitely a guy that New York will want to bring back in this year's free agency. Blake Martinez is the next player I want to talk about, and the guy is far from amazing. The guy does rack up a lot of tackles, but is not far from the best coverage linebacker or is like a really good pass rusher, but he is a pretty decent run stopper and really a decent linebacker, I guess, in general, and he did have 1 interception and 1 pass defended this past season. James Bradberry is the next player I want to talk about, and James Bradberry, he had a really good season, and he made the Pro Bowl, and well, that was a well-deserved selection, as the guy had an amazing season with 3 interceptions and 18 passes defended. And really, I love James Bradberry. I like him a lot. He's probably my favorite player on this team, and hopefully he keeps up this level of production, or maybe even improves over the next few years. Logan Ryan is the next player I want to talk about, and Logan Ryan, The guy was a really good pickup for the Giants and was pretty productive for them, as he had 1 interception and 9 passes defended. And while he is not anything like Jesse Bates or Jamal Adams or Minkah Fitzpatrick or Justin Simmons, etc., the guy is still a pretty good player. And the final player I want to talk about is Gabriel Peppers. And Gabriel Peppers, well, the guy, he had a really good season this year, and he obviously arrived to the Giants in the Odell Beckham trade from 2019, and he had 1 interception and 11 passes defended, and was a really good, he was really good for the Giants in general, as the guy was a good run stopper, along with being pretty good at defending the pass. And Gabriel and Logan, they formed one of the better safety duos in the NFL. And that will wrap it up for the roster. And going into the other stuff, well, obviously, the Giants, looking at this roster, they have to improve offensively. They are pretty good defensively, and Joe Judge was a really good head coach hire. And I mean, Joe Judge, he's building something really good in the Big Apple. And if you ask me, he's just been a really good coach for them. Now, I don't know if Daniel Jones is going to be the future quarterback of this team. We really don't know. I do see the Giants still giving him another chance, as it really doesn't seem like the Giants will move on from Daniel Jones in this offseason. And in all honesty, I would probably just decide to stick with him for now, because I don't know if they will be getting any other better quarterback options. Now, maybe they do take a chance on someone like Gardner Minshew, and that would not be bad at all, as the guy, he's shown flashes and he's shown signs of being a pretty good quarterback, but in all honesty, I don't think that he's going to be great on the Jaguars, as the Jaguars, they look to probably select Trevor Lawrence with the number 1 pick in this year's draft. But if you ask me, that's really all I have to say for the Daniel Jones stuff. And in this year's free agency, they will only have $7 million in cap space. But if they cut Nate Soldier, who really hasn't been that great for them, and restructure some guys, they can get around $10 million, and that should be decent. And if you ask me, that should at least be able to bring back Leonard Williams in free agency. Obviously, he won't be getting any Aaron Donald or TJ Watt or Khalil Mack level money, but Leonard Williams should still be getting a decently sized contract. And in all honesty, I think they should definitely do what they can to bring back Leonard Williams, as I said before, as he was very productive for them and a large part of their defense. Now, if they do lose out on him, maybe they do try and get someone like a Bud Dupree. Well, I don't know about Bud Dupree, but maybe they do try and pick up someone else via trade or free agency if Leonard Williams does leave. But in free agency, I don't expect them to do a whole lot and make any big splashes, since I don't think they won't have a lot of money in cap space this year. And even if they were to cut and restructure some guys, they aren't going to be having a crap ton of cap space. And because of that, I would look to the draft to really improve the team. Now, they will own a pick just outside the top 10, and if you ask me, I would select a wide receiver, someone on the offensive end for, to help improve this team. Now, some guys that could include is Jalen Waddle, who is who seems like a really good wide receiver prospect out of Alabama, and maybe if Kyle Pitts is available, you do choose to select him and form one of the best tight end duos in the NFL if he does end up being good with Evan Ingram. But Jalen Waddle, to me, is probably the most realistic option. I don't know about Trey Lance. Maybe he is there. Probably not though. But in the first round, I'd probably select someone like a Jalen Waddle to help improve that receiving core, as they really do need a number 1 receiver. And maybe in the second round, later in the draft, they do take someone like Joseph Osai out of, I believe, Texas. Hopefully that I get that right. Maybe I'll probably find out while I'm editing, to maybe just help shore up and strengthen that defense. As really, why not try and build that defense? As for young and upcoming teams like the Giants, or teams that are rebuilding, they definitely should focus on the end that's stronger, and the defense is, the stronger end. Well, they should definitely work to make that one of the best units in the league. Mac Jones could maybe be available in the second round, and if he is there, maybe the Giants do choose to take a chance on Mac Jones, and maybe he could be the quarterback of the future for this team. Levi on Wuzriki? Okay, hopefully, I probably said that wrong, but hopefully I said, okay, yeah, he wouldn't be a bad option either later in the draft. And if they want a receiver later on, Terrence Marshall Jr. wouldn't be bad, As I mean, I don't know I can't remember what college he's coming out of, but he seems like a pretty good prospect that could be like a second round steal. And the Giants, to me, to really wrap up this video, the Giants do have a pretty promising future, as Joe Judge proved to be a very good head coach for them. And while they do need to improve offensively, defensively, they're building up one of the best, what looks to be one of the best units in the league. And if they can figure things out on the offensive end and find their quarterback of the future, if you ask me, this team could be back to winning games soon enough. But with that being said, that will be the end of today's video. If you guys enjoyed, make sure you hit that like button, as it really helps out the channel and it shows your support for this content. Subscribe if you guys are new and enjoy the videos on here, as I am trying to reach 500 subscribers, and you also won't miss out on any new videos. It would really mean a lot to me if we could hit our goal of 500 subscribers, as these videos take a lot of hard work to make. And as a special, I will react my first 2 videos ever, so if you guys want to see that and enjoy the content on here, make sure to subscribe. But anyways, with that being said, I'm out, you guys.